Welcome to our smile gathering. So good to see you, Mallory. And
You
of
too,
course,
Reagan.
we're excited to welcome anyone else who joins us today. They might not be here right now, but they might be watching it on YouTube. And that is, of course, we are happy for you to be a part of it, even if it's after the fact. So our smile gatherings, we have like a set of slides, Google slides that we go through that help our meeting move along. And the meeting is structured by the word smile, that we will support each other. And then we'll talk a little bit about some music and how that can be a powerful tool in our mothering belts. We'll have inspiration. Mallory is actually going to share inspiration tonight with us. And then L for laughter and E for education. And that's when we talk more specifically about one of the various aspects of motherhood. And right now we're going through the concepts of relationships. So that is kind of the outline. I will start sharing my screen with those Google slides. And we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we like to do at our smile gatherings is like a little bit of a physical connecting activity where we just kind of center ourselves. If you're familiar with yoga at all, then you'll maybe feel like this is a little bit like that. Beyond the physical stretching, it's a way to get us mentally connected, focused, and also thinking about each other. So, what we're going to start with is stretching our arms out nice and big. And then we're going to bring our arms back in, kind of like a virtual hug. So we can imagine we're hugging each other, but we also can feel that we're hugging ourselves and we're just sending positive vibes of loving one another and loving ourselves. As we take our deep breaths, and we can just visualize that we're bringing goodness closer to us and into our lives. And then as we breathe out, we can think of it as kind of like a birthday wish. We're just blowing out all these good thoughts and good feelings into the rest of the world. Let's take another deep breath. And this time we're going to close our eyes and kind of give ourselves a chance to look inward. We're going to try to just gather up happy feelings about ourselves. And if we have this inner struggle going on within us, we're going to find the strength to share that struggle today and to trust that each other is here to work together and to support each other in that. So this time we're going to take a deep breath and we're going to look upwards. And you can either have your eyes open or closed. But that upward look helps us remember that there is a higher power and that we welcome that help. And we trust that it will help us rise above and have higher strength. Now we're going to take another deep breath and just look right at our screen, right at each other, and really notice each other's presence and how fun it is to be together and see one another and have these broader connections than we might have if we are the typical stay-at-home mom, which phrase we don't really use here at Momivate because we believe that we don't need to stay at home. So we don't need to be sending ourselves those subliminal messages, right? So these are our coworkers as we look at each other. And there's outward appearances, but we also are well aware that there's inward things, and we want to be open with each other to share those inner strengths or those inner struggles. And these smile gatherings are safe places for that. So, one final last deep breath, and it can be a breath of gratitude. Thank you for joining us in this technological medium. And let's go ahead and move on to our next step. The first thing we like to do is rename ourselves here on Zoom. So what we like to have everyone know is what your name is. Of course, your first name, but then we like you to list the ages of your children. And what this does is, especially as our group might get broader and wider over the upcoming weeks and months as we become more connected and have a bigger audience, we can kind of meet one another in that way and see, oh, that person has similar age kids, or that person has kids older than mine, and they might be a resource for me. And then if you'll include a keyword about yourself. And I can't do that while I'm screen sharing. So I won't be able to rename myself that way. But it's fun for me to see your guys's names get changed. All right. All right. So as I mentioned before, smile is the word that gives structure to our meetings, besides the fact that it invites us to have that physical smile. And by the way, there are endorphins that go through our system when we smile. We get these happy, like brain chemicals just from the act of smiling. And, if you can't quite manage to get the corners of your lips to go up, you can just let the middle droop. And then that turns into a smile too. Just kidding. But what you can do, and interestingly, scientists found this to still serve the same purpose of feeding your brain happy chemicals, is if you put a pen in your mouth and it kind of forces you to smile. I know it's not really awesome hygiene. Be sure you've, made the pen nice and clean. But at least, isn't that kind of nice to know that it doesn't even have to be a genuine smile, but your brain still goes, oh, her lips are in that shape. So I will go ahead and send the happy chemicals out. So anyways, the S in smile is for support. So we kind of start out with this screen that reminds everyone here your feelings are real and they're valid. We pledge as your fellow moms, mom unity members, to be judgment free, that we will hear out what you have to say. We may or may not come up with the best solutions, but we will walk it through with you, and you will know that you are not alone. We thank you for being vulnerable with us and opening up, and we use this chance to steer through motherhood. And of course, that's another acronym because we're all about acronyms. They're good ways to remember processes of how to work things through. So, Mallory, as our special guest, would you like to share one of the things you're working through right now? And it doesn't even have to be related to motherhood if you don't want. It can be whatever happens to be on your mind.
This one is related to motherhood because I've thought about it a lot, but there was a child who I cared for who perpetually was wetting her pants every time she went to school. And it would never occur under any other settings. And she was 8 and in 2nd grade at the time, or at this time, I guess. And it came out of nowhere. And She didn't seem to be acting any strange ways in any other parts of her life, but she would hop in the car and I'd be like, why are your pants wet? And she'd insist that she was rolling in grass or that she just happened to sit in a puddle, but it was occurring every day. Um, so I don't buy that. But it was occurring for the past 3 months.
Wow. Yeah, that is definitely something that you want to try to kind of fix, right? Like for her sake, as well as your own, you want to be able to help her get through. Especially, it sounds like it was somewhat embarrassing to her if she wasn't willing to be open about it, right? If she was coming up
Right.
with the excuses. So, what we do here to work through this kind of thing is we steer our thoughts with the recognition and acknowledgement that some things are outside of our control, but some things are within our control. So the situation definitely sounds outside of your control, right? That's her bladder, it's her body. But I can't imagine that she really wanted to continue with that. So let's kind of chart this out. Um, I'm going to use the annotation tool to um, kind of write these things in here. So the situation was an 8-year-old with perpetual, I think was the word you used, accidents. So um, So yeah, of course you want to jump right to the engagement part and be like, okay, what can I do to fix this? That's what engagement is. It's the actions that you would take to fix it, right? To get her to stop having these accidents.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what we have to do first of all is acknowledge that that result of making her stop is actually also outside of our control, right? So that is one of the kind of hardest things to accept in life is that other people are not computers that we can just learn the right coding and program them exactly right and they'll automatically do everything the way we want them to. So we can identify objectives, we can set potential goals or something. But if it's in that person's situation and their life, then we really don't have what's called control over it. It's more like influence, right?
Right.
And so we can write in here that we hope, the accidents will stop, but the results we have control or influence over. Um, Sometimes we have to think even more broadly, like we can help the girl have a better coping strategies, like
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Right.
All right. Now, are you willing to open up a little bit about the emotions that you felt the first bit while that you were figuring out, wait a minute, this is happening too often. She's not telling me the truth about it.
Right.
What kinds of emotions did you experience?
Well, initially I felt like sorrow or pity that she's in elementary school and that would be embarrassing. Kids
Yeah.
realize when your blue jeans are wet in the back, and I can imagine that was probably hard for her to deal with as kids made comments. But it's also frustrating that she would lie about it because we're not going to make any progress if she's going to insist that she was just rolling in the grass. And if she can't be honest with me or another adult figure, then there's really no helping her solve it. But I was also concerned that there might be a medical issue involved.
True.
Really
Yeah.
causing her to not be able to
Kind of
gauge.
hold it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was also a little bit worried that she always said that her teacher wouldn't allow students to go to the bathroom during class because, one kid goes and then all of a sudden the whole class has to go to the bathroom, right? So I understand where the motivation for that was, but it sounds like that may have been a contributing factor to she might have felt that she really can't go to the bathroom.
True.
Because the teacher was like, wait till recess.
Yeah. And so that might be a potential engagement, is to help the teacher be aware of the need to let her go. Kind of like a special needs case. And it could even become almost a secret code of sorts where the girl doesn't necessarily say, I need to go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
but where maybe she's on a timer with the teacher's understanding that when the girl kind of raises her hand and points to the door or something, that the teacher can just nod and say, okay, or something to that effect,
Right.
So some kind of thing there. It's interesting that you bring up the concept of the medical issue because that is a possibility. I read somewhere that children who are constipated, for some reason, that blockage makes it so they can no longer feel the need to urinate. So that is an idea to bring up with her pediatrician. I guess in this case you were babysitting her, and so her parents would need to do that. But
Yeah.
So discuss constipation with pediatrician is one potential engagement, or encouraging the parents to look into that. So yeah, I think that in terms of actually being able to solve it, again, that does need the child's cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure, again, that's about her and whether or not she will choose to cooperate. What do you think could be some methods of encouraging that cooperation?
Yeah. I personally started talking more about, like, this sounds funny, my own bathroom habits, where I'd say, like, oh, before I come here or I get in the car, I always go to the bathroom. So it was like, you're being prepared before you're going to go without a bathroom for a long period of time.
That's a great idea.
And then I would remind her as she goes into school, like, if you need to go to the bathroom or go anywhere, make sure you tell your teacher. Just so I was encouraging her that it is okay to talk to her teacher. But I was also trying to I was more concerned on my part about why she was not feeling comfortable to be honest with me.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to tell her a little more bits about my personal life, like nothing too crazy or anything, but just so she felt that I trusted her enough to share things with her. So hopefully it became like a two-way door and she would reciprocate that.
Yeah, that's great. I think these are all good ideas, thinking it through. Sometimes what is also helpful is to think through the worst case scenario in terms of the results. If she never figures out how to get through with this, what would be some ways to think that through, to choose kind of like ultimately an acceptance of her problem or issue, and
Mm-hmm.
and that can be sometimes really hard to, I mean, we always think, well, wait, we can solve this. Come on, let's solve it, and yet
Yeah.
what if, for whatever reason, it really couldn't be solved? What could we do, and how could we handle that? And I think that what that does is kind of put things in a long-term perspective that helps us still value that person, even if they never learn to use the bathroom often enough, right? Or whatever it is. But of course, you would still feel that compassion and that pity, but you would have to accept the fact that that really is one of those personal self control things. Um, that, I mean, obviously, there's major, you could say, well, then you have to wear diapers, or, well, then you have to go get surgery, or I don't know what.
Yeah.
But, um, but yeah, sometimes it is a matter of just helping them see this isn't a problem that I can solve for you.
Yeah.
So it looks like we have Amy joining us. I'm so excited. Welcome, Amy. It's good to have you.
Hi, sorry, I wanted to come last week and I didn't make it.
Oh, no need to apologize. We're very happy that you could make it this week.
Thank
Um,
you.
And the way our smile gatherings work is we go through each letter of the word smile, and we just kind of worked through the S part, the support. Mallory presented a situation where somebody she was babysitting had accidents even at 8 years old. And so we were talking through how to handle that thing. And we used another acronym because that's Momivate for you. Lots of acronyms of how to steer through that kind of situation. So we are going to go ahead and move on to the musical portion. The M in smile is for the music. So I'm actually going to stop sharing that screen and switch to another one that has my music slide on it. So let's see. And I have to share the sound. So I'm going to play a little bit of a YouTube video for you. This is a singer, songwriter. Oh, it's still not showing the one I want it to. We'll figure this out. His name is Raffi, and I feel like he is a very classy singer-songwriter who aims his talents at children, but it's a little bit higher level thinking than a lot of children's music. And this particular song is called All I Really Need. And you'll notice as I hit play that he really does a fantastic job of helping children understand what is a need and what is not, right? Because so often our kids are, especially in this materialistic world, they think they need everything. And so sometimes this is my response to my kids when they are saying, all I really need. And I say, remember rap.
A song in my heart and love in my melody. And I need some clean water for drinking. Oh, I need some clean air for breathing, so that I can grow up strong and take my place where I belong. All I a song in my heart, food in my belly.
Have any of you heard of Raffi before?
I never have either.
It's I really think, as I mentioned, that he's a classy kind of children's singer-songwriter. My son, who is 18 now and lives in Africa, he loved Raffi, and so that was where we got exposed to him. Well, I think maybe we found him at the library or something, but anyways, we really appreciate his classy songs and how some of them are just goofy and silly, but some of them teach an important concept there, like all I really need is a song in my heart and love in my family, and that those are our basic needs. And so if we aren't getting everything else we want, that's okay. We can focus on having our basics met. So that is the musical portion of our smile gathering. Mallory is going to do the inspirational portion. Do you need to share your screen, Mallory?
Yes, I do.
All right, let me give you permission to do that. There we go.
Okay, I selected a TV commercial, and it's 2 minutes and 16 seconds, but it's worth watching the entire 2 minutes and 16 seconds because it really comes full circle. So, all right, I will.
Sponsor of moms.
I love that commercial.
Yeah, I was almost gonna cry.
I know. And I think it's like undeniable that it's touching, obviously, that mothers are there through the worst moments and the best moments and stand by you through it all. But I also really like how Proctor and Gamble, every Olympic cycle, whether it's Summer Olympics or Winter Olympics, they always do the Thank You Mom campaigns. And it's been going on at least since 2012 is when I could first remember it. But I'm hoping to see it again this summer. And I think it's a really unique and important approach to the Olympics. That's unique and outside of our general perspective of just looking at the athlete. But I think it's a really, really wonderful message that I hope to see again this summer.
I like too that it focused on the idea that the mom was there in various situations and not just taking her to practice or him to practice, right? So,
Right.
so they were expanding that it wasn't just about the rides to and from, but it was throughout. It was a consistent attitude the mom had. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I wonder if this time around, it'll have anything to do with the coronavirus, the sacrifices that the world is basically acknowledging. Moms are the ones who were the heroes that stepped up and decided to be home with the kids when the
Yeah.
kids had to be at home,
Mhm.
So that'll be interesting to see what they come up with. And it may not, of course, have anything to do with coronavirus after all, but some of us are all coronavirus out. Like, are we really going to talk about that again? So, all right. If you'll let me share my screen again.
Yes.
I will move on to the L portion of smile. And this is the laughter part. Because sometimes as moms, we forget to laugh. I was just telling my 11-year-old today, he said something that wasn't actually particularly funny. I was actually a little bit disrespectful, but I chose to laugh about it and kind of turn it into a joke. And it was a conscious choice, I'll tell you. And then I even decided to point it out to him and to say, when your oldest brother, who's 20, when he was 11 and he treated me like this, there was no humor there. I was not able to handle that in such a way. So I'm noticing that I am growing as a mother and able to use humor instead of anger, and of course there are moments when it's important to point out, but I could do that even, I think, a little bit on purpose, right? To say, look, that's not the right way to treat me. So, all right. So this particular humor thing that I'm going to share, it's another YouTube clip. It's by a group called Studio C. And my kids love these guys. And two of the women who act in this clip are actual mothers, and they're the writers too. And so it was really funny to realize that they were talking from experience, and that the third one, who's the one asking for help in this clip, she's the one who's not a mom yet, but that. So, anyways, I will, with no further introduction, we'll just watch this play out.
Helena, Cornelia, it is good to see you.
It has been far too long since we have gathered our banners together in war.
Hear, hear. I'd like to call this Council of Motherhood to order. We must band together to vanquish our foe.
Like the great battle of potty training. I could not have conquered the porcelain throne without your Elmo sticker chart.
But now far greater evil has come upon us.
Is it summiting Mount Laundry?
No.
Is it toddler sleep negotiations?
No, these evils will always exist in our world.
What is it? Surely together
The grocery trip with small children.
Devil incarnate!
It is right that you called us. An attack falls upon me weekly, Your Grace.
But this is different. This is the semi-annual Costco stock-up. No! This is my first battle going to Costco with 3 children.
Oh, 2 children is a battle. 3 children is war.
What can be done? Your defeat is inevitable.
My scouts tell me this is the current layout of Costco. And be wary, I will need 2 carts.
1 cart is a battle. 2 carts is war.
Okay, Helena, we get it.
Yes. Why not just send your husband to the front lines and...
You coward! He always falls prey to the sweet sounds of the Vitamix demonstration.
Perhaps if...
I ask for diapers, he comes back with 4 dozen muffins!
You have your list?
Obviously.
Your best chance is to take it 1 section at a time. Produce first.
Are you mad? With children in the cart, the bananas will be carnage by the end.
True. Produce is a vulnerable area.
What weapons do you have?
Fruit snacks and goldfish. But for this conflict, I shall wield the Holy Grail.
The iPad.
And risk a crack? That's a risk I'm willing to take.
I mean, if you feel comfortable with that amount of screen time.
Save the mom guilt for the battlefield, Cornelia.
This is foolish. 3 children sharing one iPad. You'll be on borders of meltdown territory.
Well, then retreat back to Food Court Fortress. They will obey for a churro.
Sugar and screens cannot be the way.
What other...
Enough arguing! If we cannot agree, we must call on ancient wisdom. Hello, mighty grandmother.
How many children?
3, milady.
In my day, I had 8.
You left them in the car.
I cracked a window. Nobody cared back then.
But what should I do now, O wise one?
Yes. Consider the belt buckle. Yes. You only have to use it once.
Okay, I think we're good.
You won't hear my words of wisdom. If you would only know that the water is giving the children chicken pox.
Okay. The time has come. I must away.
Remember, stick to your list. Resist the impulse buy.
Even if it's dark chocolate-covered almonds?
Yes! Be strong.
Thank you, wise leaders. I feel ready.
Go with speed, friend.
May fortune smile upon you.
To battle. Kids, get your shoes on! I shall bring you the Costco receipt on a spike!
Oh, I forgot. Costco lets you order online and they'll just deliver it to your car.
Next time. Mothers, subscribe!
Like this video! Share this video!
Any thoughts about that?
That was hilarious. That was really good.
Necessarily mention the ages of the children, right? That's just the truth at any age. So
Yeah, it's
and I did think it was funny it mentioned the husband and how you just couldn't rely on the husband to help in a situation like that.
and all the mom guilt with the sugar and iPad.
Right.
That's the best.
So, yep. And sometimes we do just have to make that shopping drive. I tried probably, I would say I even succeeded 90% of the time to make it a point never to take the kids grocery shopping. And not, you know, that's for the weekly or as well as the big stock up ones. But at one point, my oldest like kind of blamed me. He was like, no wonder I don't know how to grocery shop or budget my money or whatever. And I was like, well, some things we just have to take as they come, right?
Well, there's always that family home evening you can do where you give them whoever gets the cheapest meal plan or something at the grocery store. Make them do your meal planning.
Pretend it's a game. Let's play the game where
it'll be fun. It's a competition.
Here, you get the Macy's ad and you get the Fresh Market ad, and we'll see.
They'll be like, what is this?
Yeah. So I am in that stage of having kids who are old enough to go out and live on their own, and they're figuring out what they did or didn't learn. And in some cases it is true. It was a matter of me not teaching them. But at some point I had to kind of give up on trying to teach them everything, right? Like, that's just not possible. There are always going to be holes in their education. And I just figured out that if I could teach them how to learn, then that was going to be the more powerful tool for them to take than if I just tried to list off a bunch of facts and make them memorize it. So that was kind of is one of my survival attitudes, I guess. Instead of feeling guilty about what I'm not necessarily succeeding at. But but there are ways they can build their own good attitudes and stuff. So
Yeah.
My little one is here. Are you able to hear her? Is it distracting to you? Or no?
I can hear her, but I don't, not very well.
Okay, so not distracting. Oh, now that I'm talking about her, she wants to say hello. You want to say hi? Put your face in there. Yeah, there you go. Hi. She has a mustache from her chocolate milk. Yum, yum. All right. Well, we're doing really well on the timing of this smile gathering. We've got just about 10 or 15 minutes left to work on our educational aspect. And so we'll just go ahead and dive into that. So let me share my screen again. And so we have, we call it the Raise Up acronym, and it is a way to help moms realize that they do more than just cooking and cleaning and laundry, but that they actually raise up society. And the R is the one we'll focus on tonight. It's relationships. But real quick, I'll just briefly tell you that atmosphere is in there too. We create what our home's atmosphere is like. And then we have income and outgo. Sometimes as moms, we bring in income. But even if we don't, we need to be aware of how we influence the outgo, and that is a major way for us to help our financial stability in our family. Am I sharing this screen? Yes, I am, right? The S is for schedules and systems. The E is for energy, eating and exercise. And then, and that includes sleep. The U is for unique circumstances. And then the P is for personal pursuits. And unfortunately, that often comes last, but the goal is to never totally give up, to always have our personal pursuits on the table and something that we make conscious effort to pay attention to. But I think it's also meaningful that relationships come first, because there's just really no life without the relationships that we have. We have kind of a little parable that we tell. Imagine that each person you interact with is on a journey with you out on the ocean of life, and you're together on a relationship. So thinking through, what is my destination and who's steering and who's navigating? And if it's neither one of you, conscientiously steering or navigating, you might have different ideas of where you end up, and you might end up shipwrecked. So we at Momivate, we figured out a few things that are part of every relationship. The fact that you have to have contact with someone in order to have a relationship with them. The amount of time that you spend with them is basically an investment in the quality of relationship you'll have with them. Having certain forms of behavior that are consistent, makes that relationship dependable. So that, again, if we're thinking about this in terms of our children, they need to see dependable behavior on our part. And this also helps us to bond with them, and how important that is for them to be able to rely on us, and our more like restrained emotions, or being able for us to present to our kids behavior that is worthy of them mirroring and following our example. The word faith is here. And there is, of course, a religious concept of faith, but with regards to relationships, it's more about trust, where we trust ourselves. I'm getting a warning that my internet's not working.
It just froze a minute. It's working still.
Okay. Thank you for the feedback. And then she has to believe that her interactions with her children do serve an important purpose, and that she will influence them. And I think one of the scariest messages being put out there these days is that it doesn't matter how a mother interacts with her kids. They're just going to turn out the way they want to anyway. And of course, to some extent, that is true. But if we kind of give up based on that overarching assumption, then we are losing the power that we could have, which is much greater than that sort of negativity would ever admit. Another principle and with regards to relationships is reflexivity and growth. So being able to look at our relationships and be willing to make changes as necessary. It requires, some humility there, and maybe seeking out help like therapy or self-help type of books. The ideas of respect and love are very important, and to understand what love really means. Looking for a broad definition rather than just kind of an untamed emotion, but ways to build and grow love. And forgiveness and compassion come into play with a lot of these other things. A lot of the principles overlap, of course. And this concept of work, that it requires effort to, that goes back in with the concept of the time of contact and interaction. So the various kinds of relationships that moms have are with God, with our husbands, our children, and grandparents of the children, and other mothers, and our village. And so back here where we had our kind of our folder of different components, what we do is we take one of these areas, we call them components of relationships, and we break it down in terms of those principles. So in considering, for instance, our relationships with our children, we would then look at how, and we also use the Momifesto to guide our thoughts about these things, about how the principles tie in with our children. So the kinds of contact that we might have with them, the behaviors that we model for them, and then want them to give back to us, setting those expectations of behavior, with regards to the faith and the reflexivity and growth, and things like this. So, and then we've got the resources that we recommend for these kinds of things. So that, it gives you an idea of how our curriculum here at Momivate is set up. To tell the truth, it's not 100% done yet. We are working with our team. We have a wonderful team of women. I'll go ahead and share my screen about that, that you can read about in more detail if you are interested. We call ourselves the motherboard. We each take on a different role in trying to help. So that Lorena is who helped put together that part of the curriculum. So we have Erica and Cindy and Diana and Sarah and Lindley. And we're always looking to expand our team. If you or anyone you know are interested, these are the areas that we need help with. Oh, actually, we did just recently get a director of music, inspiration, and laughter. So hopefully she'll be attending our smile gatherings and guiding us all with that. So, all right, in these last few minutes, I want to do our little giveaway. Oh, where's my screen? I think I have to stop sharing again to get to that screen. This is a book that was given to Momivate to give away. So we've got Faithful, Fit, and Fabulous by Connie Sokol. Have either of you heard of Connie Sokol?
The name sounds familiar, but I can't think of where I heard of her.
You know what, Amy? Because I've known you for so long and you came to the convention. She was one of our speakers.
Oh,
So she's got this book that she's donating for us to give away. So
that's awesome.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm grateful for that. So Mallory was actually going to hold our little giveaway. So we can probably just declare Amy the winner, right? Since
That's fine by me.
since she's our main visitor tonight. Mallory is on my team also, Amy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, isn't that great? And so she's kind of helping with running things because I'm a little overwhelmed sometimes trying to do this mission of Momivate at the same time as doing the mission of motherhood in and of itself. So thank goodness for Mallory. All right, so yay, Amy, you win the book.
Oh, thank you.
I will need you to send me an email with your address and then we'll get that to you.
Okay, thank you.
All
That's so
right.
nice.
Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah, I
been
think you
fun.
guys do good things.
Well, and we're trying, and if you have feedback for us or anything, if you can help us spread the word or anything like that, we would love to help more moms. But as I think about that, I also realize that each mom, the one individual mom is wonderful. So thank you for letting us help you individually, Amy.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see you at the next Smile Gathering. I actually won't be able to host one next Thursday, so it'll be a couple weeks until we host another one, unless a member of my team wants to take over the hosting of the Smile Gatherings. So we'll see if anyone volunteers for that. And then we'll get back together in a couple of weeks. So thank you.
Hey,
for
thank
attending.
you. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.